It's an honor to get to speak here today at the Oil and Gas Expo. I know it's the third annual event, and based on my observation, it looks like it's the biggest and strongest one yet, which speaks very highly of our industry and what it means to be part of Appalachia. When I was originally asked to speak today, I was trying to decide exactly what to say and what somebody might be interested. So I decided to kind of put an outline together of 4 topics. One is, who is Stone Energy? It's not one of the primary players historically here. Why did Stone Energy decide to expand into the Appalachia Basin? What are the drivers to our success to date? And the part that many of you may be interested in, what role does equipment and service providers have in that success? So first of all, Stone Energy, who are we? Well, historically, we're a Gulf Coast company that was focused on the conventional shelf for our E&P operations. We're headquartered in Lafayette, Louisiana. We're publicly traded with a stock symbol of SGY, currently trading at about $32 a share. We have a $1.6 billion market cap and $2.4 billion enterprise value, to give you a relative size. And aside from Appalachia, Stone has been intensifying our development operations and exploration activities in the deep water Gulf of Mexico. Our commodity mix is about 50% gas and 50% liquids, liquids being oil, natural gas liquids, and condensate. Overall, the company employs about 400 people. So the next question, why expand from the Gulf Coast? Well, it was fairly easy. The conventional shelf assets are maturing. New discoveries are smaller, riskier, and less economic. And the second major reason was to diversify our risk portfolio. As all of our production came from the Gulf Coast, as you can imagine, with hurricanes, you had the potential to shut in our entire asset base. Exploration risk, as we move into the deep water play, these are very expensive wells, nearly $100 million a pop. We needed something to help balance that risk. And there are regional risks that exist. It has to do with local marketing efforts, regulatory, as everybody's familiar with Macondo. The actual exploration of the deep water was turned on its ear for about 2 years as a result of that. So part of that strategy's paid off. When that occurred, Stone had a place to put their money. Why expand into Appalachia? Well, the Marcellus Field, as you know, is very, very large. Much of it was unleashed 5 years ago. Market proximity that we've all heard, the major commercial markets for gas have been here in the Northeast, and it has and presents a lower geologic risk. The other reasons are simply it's stacked reservoirs that present additional pay and development opportunities, and you're starting to see some of those opportunities today in the deeper Utica shales as well as the upper Devonian shales. Our focus in Appalachia has been in a niche area of price-advantaged, liquids-rich areas. If I was to use a baseball analogy to kind of our theme right now, is that Appalachia is a bit of a base hitter. We tend to step up the plate, and our risks are more executional risk, and we partner and try to mitigate those. The deep water is the home run hitters, and we're trying to position ourselves to allow them to swing at the plate. Occasionally, if they hit a home run, we got an opportunity to really grow our company. I'd like to run you through the Appalachia timeline for us. Most of our acreage, or our first positions, were taken in 2008. And some of the first vertical test wells were drilled in 2009. We drilled our first horizontal well in May of 2010, and by year end, we'll have nearly 95 horizontal wells drilled. Probably 65 of those are in some mode of production. And we've ramped our production from 0 to nearly 100 million cubic foot of gas a day net, and we've grown our reserves to nearly 400 BCF. What that means for our company is about 1/3 of our production is now coming from Appalachia. Nearly half of our reserve is from Appalachia. And we control about 100,000 net acres for development. And we're reinvesting about $250 million a year for this development activity, and we'll continue to do so over the next several years. The keys to success to date, I wanted to hit a few of those highlights, and some of those are, the beginning is employing people that want to be in Appalachia. We've got several folks that have working for our organization that have worked both domestically and internationally in some very high pressure, high temperature, and technologically challenging areas, which they have brought back to Appalachia. And that's been complemented by some folks that have spent their whole career working in Appalachia. And some of the things that they understand very well are the cultural issues of drilling wells next to houses. They understand the geographical complexities, and they also understand how to operate in inclement weather. I think another key point to the employee base is just empowering people to do what they do and valuing their ideas and opinions. A third key is a systematic development philosophy that's focused on efficiency. Some of the things that we've done there, we have always executed a pad drilling philosophy where we drill 4 to 10 wells per pad. We use a small, efficient top hole air drilling rig to do the vertical sections, followed with a slightly larger rig to do the curves and the laterals. In 2010, when we started the program, I think we drilled 15 wells the first year. Those were fairly short laterals, probably averaged 3,000 feet. And currently we're drilling about 30 wells a year, nearly 5,000 foot. So you can see the increase in productivity as we continue to understand this play. We've built and maintain our own centralized water, both produced water and freshwater collection systems. We can manage about 1.2 million gallons of water a day to support our fracking operations, and we've got a robust produced water system that we recycle nearly 100% of the fluids that are recycled. The advantage to that as a producer is that we can really cut down on the amount of road traffic that's out there. It cut down on the high cost and third-party disposal. We focused on time compression between pad construction, drilling completion, and actually putting these wells into service. The faster that we can get them drilled and making production, the more economic we become. And we also operate lean. I mentioned that we have about 400 employees company-wide, but about a third of the company is represented by Appalachia, which is only 30 experienced employees and about 25 full-time consultants. If you put that into perspective, that's roughly 1/10 of the staff that's producing 35 to 40% of the value. However, on any given day, there are between 400 and 450 people working in the field. That's nearly a 15-to-1 contractor to employee ratio. Which brings me to my final key, and hopefully the one that you all are most interested in. Support from a highly qualified, reliable contractor base is one of the major keys to making us successful with those types of ratios. Stone Energy prefers to establish long-term alliances with our vendors and contractors who share our values, and they simply are safety, environment, compliance, production, and cost. We look for vendors, and all of our vendors must subscribe to IS Net World that have an A rating in that system. It includes an OSHA rating, safety, training, and insurance requirements. In this day and age, it's simply stated, safe companies are more profitable, and we look to do business with those companies. Without going through too many of those things, as far as the OSHA total recordable, there's a bit of a matrix that we use, and we will take a look at a 12-month rolling average as well as a 3-year past rolling average to see where folks fit. There are minimum insurance requirements, and with West Virginia, certainly now that's being checked, we want to make sure that they have a contractor's license to work in the state of West Virginia if it's West Virginia, or Pennsylvania if we're doing work there as well. Cost. Folks that know me know that I drive costs pretty hard, but working with vendors that have competitive rates is one of those goals, but we're also evaluating ways to perform safer, faster, and cheaper. And I guess what we're looking at is partnering up with those folks that bring innovative ideas to come in, and it's not just shave your profit margin, but help us to find ways to do things smarter, smaller, and especially in this price environment to keep us very competitive. Quality of workmanship, it kind of speaks for itself. But one area that's been problematic, as an example, has been on pad and road construction. You know, historic sites in Appalachia were very small, and pretty much anybody with a dozer can do it. But and these days, with a 5-acre area that's required in the topographical regions that we are, it's very challenging. It doesn't do you any good to go in there and address it and do something quick and cheap and then come back and redo it 3 or 4 times. And in fact, coming back 3 or 4 times has some environmental implications as well, especially if something would get down close to the streams or something along those lines. One way that we've addressed that is partnering with companies that are willing to warranty their work. They're willing to put their name and reputation at stake and to help us, and it requires less supervision because they'll police themselves. Past performance and reliability is another key. We perform operations 24/7. We expect service providers to do the same, and at 2 o'clock on a Sunday morning, if necessary, we hope you're there to help us. Those companies that are able to do that can help us achieve our goals, and again, to minimize our cost. On-time execution, one of the keys I told you earlier was to try to quickly build a pad and turn that through the development phase all the way on to production. So we will monitor that, and it's one of our major goals. And the last thing is competition. It's one of the things that you all don't control, but we do encourage competition. We like to have at least 2 contractors for any service that's provided or any product that we use. At the same time, we're challenged a bit not to have 20 service vendors to do something, because it is a process, as I've described, that we have to manage. So if we get too many vendors out there, we have to continually look at their safety statistics, their environmental things, their insurance claims, and so forth. So that's one of the balancing things that Stone Energy as an Appalachia producer is looking for. So I hope this presentation was informative and useful for those seeking to do work with us. And if you all go out and buy some stock, maybe they'll have me back someday. So thank you very much.